Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enabled us to go through again another lecture on rules of tajweed. As usual, we will start by reciting one page from the Mus'haf. Then we will look at some of the rules. Then towards the end, we will recite another page. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. So let's recite this page, inshallah. You can follow along with me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقالوا كونوا هودا أو نصارى تهتدوا قل بل ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط وما أوتي موسى وعيسى وما أوتي النبيون من ربهم لا نفرق بين أحد منهم ونحن له مسلمون فإن آمنوا بمثل ما آمنتم به فقد اهتدوا وإن تولوا فإنما هم في شقاق فسيكفيكهم الله وهو السميع العليم صبغة الله ومن أحسن من الله صبغة ونحن له عابدون قل أتحاجوننا في الله وهو ربنا وربكم ولنا أعمالنا ولكم أعمالكم ونحن له مخلصون أم تقولون إن إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط كانوا هودا أو نصارى قل أأنتم أعلم أم الله ومن أظلم ممن كتم شهادة عنده من الله وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَلَكُم مَّا كَسَبْتُمْ وَلَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ صدق الله العظيم. So Alhamdulillah, we have been continuing with the Tajweed notes. Um, as as you know that you can access these notes from the main page of our website. I'll just show you right here, and I'm sure many of you have already downloaded it. So these are the ones that we are going through. So we went through all these topics starting from al-qalqala right here, and then all of these, alhamdulillah. And the last thing we did last week was mad lazim, kalimi, muthaqqal, mukhaffaf, and harfi, muthaqqal and mukhaffaf. Um, Now there was a request made about Hamzatul Wasl. So what we will do is we will just insert in here, as far as our lectures are concerned, the small item of Hamzatul Wasl. We will look at that. Then we will continue with these items here in the table of contents of these notes. So I'm just going to go over to another tab here and load the notes again. The Hamzatul Wasl that I'm going to be looking at, the note, there's 2-3 pages there. You can access from here. So this link, when I clicked, I actually loaded these sheets here. These sheets are just coming out of a book. I think it's called Advanced Tajweed. But these are just 3 sheets, 1, 2, and 3, and that's it. So the main thing is basically this diagram. We can just go through it just to make it a little bit more simple and fast. So first of all, what is Hamzatul Wasl? I think the definition is over here. Let's just go through this as well. Okay, so the rules for Hamzatul Wasl. In the Quran, Hamzatul Wasl appears like this. So if I get my pen here. Okay. So Hamzatul Wasl, as you know, we spoke about it before as well a few times. You have the alif, and on top of it is actually the head of the letter Sad, which is a little small here. Just make it, just made it bigger here. So basically, Hamzatul Wasl means it's a joining Hamza, or is a joining letter known as Hamzatul Wasl, and you find it at the beginning of words. Um, Basically, they are nouns or verbs, as we will see more specifically just a bit later on. So in Arabic, if a word originally begins with a sukoon, then a Hamzatul Wasl is added to the beginning in order to make it easier to pronounce. Okay, so a Hamzatul Wasl is only pronounced when starting a word. We will just look at these examples. I just want to read this so that at least the definitions will come in front of us. When another word comes before it and a person reads from this word, then the Hamza is dropped. Okay, so when we are reading, let's say, words in an ayah, as we are reading continuously, then wherever we encounter Hamzatul Wasls, they just get dropped. We will just look at the examples. Okay, so this is only the case when you begin the word. Otherwise, it is dropped. This is how a Hamzatul Wasl is identified. So if you look at these two examples here, these examples are coming from Suratul Fajr, as you probably know. So now if you actually start from here, then you have to use this Hamzatul Wasl. But if you do not stop, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'innah, there is a stop. Irji'i, that was the following ayah. But if you do not stop there, and if you want to read continuously, then what's going to happen? This Hamzatul Wasl, and they have actually made it in a gray color, as opposed to a dark color in used for this word as well as this word here. So the Hamzatul Wasl has been written in a lighter color. Okay, basically saying that, well, if you are going to read in a continuum, then it is going to drop out. It's going to drop out, and we will read this. Al-mutma'innatu rji'i. But if we were to start from here, then we will say irji'i ila rabbika, as we continue, inshallah. Now let us go to that particular surah and then look at the actual example in the actual surah. So let me go here. Actually, no, to the Mushaf. So go to the Mushaf here. And if I just go here, here, I'll just look for Suratul Fajr and Al-Thalathun. Down here, should be somewhere in the middle. Bayyina. There we go. Okay, so if you go down, it's towards the end. And here we are. So the example over there was this one here. Okay, so these were the two words that were shown. Al-mutma'inna and irji'i. Now, as you can see that there is an end of ayah symbol between the two words. That means the ayah actually finishes. So this ayah is Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'innah. So if I stop, that's how I would stop. Okay, ta marbuta becomes ha sakin. And then I move on to the next ayah and I will say irji'i. So now I am actually using this Hamzatul Wasl. But if I decided not to stop and just continue without stopping, which I am allowed to do that, then I would say it like this. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'innatu rji'i ila. So what happened then? I ended up taking this ta marbuta and joining it with the ra sakin here. Turji'i. What happened to the Hamzatul Wasl? It got dropped out. So this basically what that example was illustrating. So let us look at some other Hamzatul Wasl cases as well. I'd like to get a bit fuller page here. Okay, let us identify the Hamzatul Wasls here. Let's say, okay, wal fajr. Okay, so there is a Hamzatul Wasl right here. Okay, let's identify some more. والشفع والوتر. Again, Hamzatul Wasl, Hamzatul Wasl, Hamzatul Wasl here. Lots of them. Okay. Okay, another one here. Another one here. Okay. So there's lots of them. Okay. Now, what's the difference between these ones and the one that we saw? Okay. So if we see the formation of these words, you can see that there is always this al. Okay, always Hamzatul Wasl and Lam. Hamzatul Wasl and Lam. Hamzatul Wasl and Lam. Okay, and here the Lam is actually doubled, but it actually is al-layl. Here al-imad, al-lati, al-bilad. So there. So what do we learn from this? Basically, all of these words following the Lam sakin here, whether the sukun is written on top or not. Like in this case, the sukun is not written on top of the lam, but lam is still, I mean, it has to be there. But in this case, lam is not read. The reason is because the letter following is a shamsi letter. In this case, lam is read. In the first case, wal fajr, lam is read because fa is a is a is a qamari letter. Al fajr, but ash-shaf' like ash-shams, al-qamar. So fa is a qamari letter. All letters that are qamari will require the lam with the sukun sign on top of it and the lam to be read. So al that precedes a word or a noun that starts with a qamari letter, the lam will have to have the sukun sign and the lam will have to be read. Wal fajr. But then a noun that starts with a shamsi letter, then the Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination, the Lam is not going to be read. And if we are reading in a continuum, what's going to happen? That we know Hamzatul Wasl drops out because we are reading in a continuum. Hamzatul Wasl is going to drop out, and this Lam also from the reading point of view will drop out as well, and Waw will go and join with the sheen directly. Washaf'i. But in the next word, wal watr, Waw happens to be a qamari letter, so therefore lam will have to be recited, and that's why the sukun sign. So what's the difference? When you see in this Hamzatul Wasl and Lam formation, if I take all of these out, so if I take just this, if I highlight only this part here, okay, and this part here. So Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination, Lam is read when you have the sukun on top. It's not read when the sukun is not there. And I just explained to you then why they would put a sukun. When they put a sukun, that means they want you to read it. They want you to make it significant. And when the sukun sign is not there, they want you to just skip that. Okay. So in this case, we will read it. Wal watr. Again here, wal layl. The lam is doubled here, but the first lam will be read as well. Okay, al-imad. This lam will have to be read. Okay. So each each of these words are actually they are nouns, as I said before. They are nouns. Shafa, watr, fajr, layl, imad, bilad. They're all nouns, and they are preceded by Hamzatul Wasl and al to make it specific, to make it that the the cities. Okay, the imad, the pillars. Okay, fajr, wal fajr. Okay, so all of these are nouns, but the lam will be pronounced if it appears before a qamari letter, and if it appears before a shamsi letter, it will not be pronounced. That's the difference. Okay, so now let's go back to our table again, that chart. Go back, um, I guess right here. Okay, the chart was here. Okay, so let us read on or look at this chart here. So Hamzatul Wasl. As I said that there are two branches, Hamzatul Wasl appearing before a verb or Hamzatul Wasl appearing before a noun. So let us look at one branch. If I make it slightly smaller so I can get a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Maybe a little bit more smaller. Okay. Okay, here we go. So now, what does it say? If we take this branch here, so let us take, oh, well, we already did a little bit of nouns anyways. Okay, so we looked at the nouns. So for nouns, begins with Hamzatul Wasl and Lam, like al. Okay, so any noun that is beginning with Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination, okay, what are we going to do? We are going to add a fatha. We are going to add a fatha. So as we saw, it was always al 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 al. Like in this case here, al hamdu. So I take this here. So here is your Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination, and here is the noun hamd. Okay, the praise, the praise. Alhamdu. So in this case, Hamzatul Wasl, because it's a noun, it will assume a fatha as it is shown here. So the fatha is shown here, right here. Hamzatul Wasl was there, it was like this, but then when we are actually going to read it, so we are going to replace the head of the Sad with a fatha. Actually, and you can even write it like that. It becomes a Hamza. Alhamdu. Okay. There are some exceptions, okay, as far as the nouns are concerned. So we look at these exceptions now. Oops, sorry. Okay, here. So these are the exceptions here, that the noun does not begin with al, and there are only 7 words in the Quran, only 7 words. When a noun does not begin with al, okay, and these are the 7 words, we will look at them, then that Hamzatul Wasl will assume a Kasra. Kasra. So let us scroll it up a little bit and look at those 7 words here. Okay, Ibn is one of them. Ibn, son. Ibna, that daughter. So if there is another word before it, and if we are reading in continuum, then this Hamzatul Wasl, as usual, is going to drop. But if we are going to start from here, then we will read Ibn, Ibnatun, Imru'un, Imra'atun, Ithnain, Ithnatain, Ism. So Hamzatul Wasl will come into play if we are starting from this word. If we are continuing from a previous word, then this Hamzatul Wasl will drop, and we will just join it, and the previous significant letter will come and join with the ba in this case, ba in the second case, mim in the third case, and so on. So this is with the nouns. Now with the verbs. With the verbs, if we follow the other branch here, what we have to do whenever we encounter a verb, then we have to look at the third letter. If the third letter has a dhamma, okay, like here, then Hamzatul Wasl will get the dhamma. So let me write it here. So third letter and Hamzatul Wasl. Okay, so let's say, okay, better this way. Third letter, okay, and Hamzatul Wasl. Tul Wasl. Okay, not very neat, but okay. So if the third letter has a dhamma, Hamzatul Wasl appearing at the beginning of that word will get a dhamma. And if the third letter has a, let me just draw a little dummy letter here, has a kasra, then Hamzatul Wasl will get a kasra as well. If the third letter has a fatha, Hamzatul Wasl will get a kasra as well. So dhamma for dhamma, kasra for kasra or fatha. So that's basically the rule as far as verbs are concerned in a simplistic way. And that's it. We just don't want to complicate it too much. This is it. So look at these words here. So now let me get my pen. So now this word here, the third third letter has a dhamma, so Hamzatul Wasl gets a dhamma and gets unzur. Okay. In this case, and so we did this one here, and in this case now, the third letter has a kasra, so the Hamzatul Wasl will get a kasra. Idrib. In this one, the third letter has a fatha, so Hamzatul Wasl will still get a kasra. I remember that table there. Iftah. So it'll be, this one will be idrib, this one will be iftah. And that's it. These are the verbs. Now, sometimes what happens is that you have Hamzatul Wasl and it is preceded by a tanween. And when that happens, then tanween is effectively a noon sakin, has the sound of noon sakin at the end, like ban, bin, bun, ten, tin, tun, like that. So the ending sound is of noon sakin. And if there is a Hamzatul Wasl right after, then the rule says that we should add to that noon sakin, that is the ending of the tanween, we should add a kasra. So if I look at one of the examples here, let's look at an example. If I go to the Mushaf, okay, so if I go to the Mushaf here, and I will go to a surah that is well known. No, this one here, Thalathun. Towards the end, I will look at Suratul Ikhlas. We all know this surah very well. So now look at this. Grab my pen. Okay, look at this. The first ayah. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. Now I stopped here. So in the second ayah, this word Allah is actually starting with Hamzatul Wasl. Starting with Hamzatul Wasl right here. So I had to use Hamzatul Wasl here. Okay, I cannot start a word with a second letter. Hamzatul Wasl, as we read before, is provided for the convenience of providing the haraka, because Hamza always has a haraka, whatever it is, fatha, kasra, dhamma. So Hamzatul Wasl is used if we start this ayah from the word Allah, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu Samad. If I decided not to stop here and continue like this, what's gonna happen? I will have to say قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Now I have ahadun, and Hamzatul Wasl, as we know, is supposed to drop out. Okay, so there is going to be a second lam that I have to attach to. So ahadun, basically dun, here dun is the same as dun with the sukun, dun. Now and I end up with the lam of Allah, because Hamzatul Wasl has dropped, and I end up with the second lam. How do you join these two together? Dunl? No. So the rule says all you need to do is just put a kasra here. That's all. That's all. So how are we going to read this now? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ do nil nil do nil. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. Now because I got a kasra here, the kasra, as we are joining this, the kasra is placed here. What happens to the lam of Allah here? The lamul jalala. Lam of Allah is called, the lam in the name of Allah is called lamul jalala. If it is preceded by a kasra, that will happen if we are reciting in continuum both of these ayat. If we are reciting without stopping here, then the kasra is going to come into play here. And if the kasra is there, then the lamul jalala will become flat. How? Ahadunillah. Nillah, not nillah. And if I were to start right from here, take this away. If I was to start from here, if I stopped here, and if I was to start from here, then Hamzatul Wasl will assume a fatha here, and I will have to say Allahu, Allahu. So the lamul jalala will be read mufakham, rounded. Why? Because there is a fatha. Okay, so if there is a fatha or dhamma before lamul jalala is read mufakham or rounded, as we have seen it, I think in one of the probably in the first lecture. But in this case, when I am reciting in a continuous manner without stopping here, then we know that Hamzatul Wasl is going to drop out, and then you end up with two sakin letters, noon sakin here and then lam here, which is sakin as well. So how are we going to do this? We add a kasra. Ahadunillah, and because it's a kasra, lamul jalala will become flat. قل هو الله أحد الله نillahu الصمد. There you go. Uh, I think there was a question about temporary kasra. So, and I think it comes from here. Let me just go to this tajweed lesson here from on our website, and it's among the rules of raw. One of these, I think it talks about the temporary kasra. Just gonna find out in a second, perhaps a bit more than a second. Okay, here. So this one, it says, this is from the rules of raw. Okay, from tafkhimur raw. So if the letter raw is sakin, and as you see in these words here, okay, the raw here in the first word here, the first, second, third, the fourth letter is raw and it has a sukoon on it. It is sakin. In this one also, 1, 2, 3, the fourth letter has a sukoon on it and it is sakin. And this one is the second letter, it is sakin. Okay. So what does it say? If the letter ra is sakin, as it is here, as we've seen, and the preceding letter bears a temporary kasra, then the letter ra is pronounced with tafkhim. So what happens here? For example, irtabu. So temporary kasra here means that this is Hamzatul Wasl. It is not always there. It is not a permanent kasra. And if we are going to read these two words together, and irtabu, what happens to the Hamzatul Wasl? It drops out. It's not even there. But if we were to start from this word, it will say irtabu. So the kasra is going to be there. So this kasra is basically temporary. It's not a permanent kasra like this one here as a permanent one. This one is a permanent one, but this one is temporary. It only comes into play if you are going to start from this word, like for example in the second one here, irtabetum. Okay, and this one also irji'i. But if we were to recite this word here in conjunction with the previous word and the previous ayah, so it will be mutma'inna turji'i. Okay, so in that case, this is Hamzatul Wasl, which actually acts as a temporary, well, like it works with the kasra because the third letter has a kasra, so kasra is going to be ported over to Hamzatul Wasl. So, but that drops out. So basically, it's a temporary kasra. So I think probably that was the question. And to the best of my knowledge, I've tried to explain to it. That I've tried to answer that question. Okay, we can move back now to our notes. Okay. Just looking for my, I can just do away with these. That one I'll keep. Okay, there we go. I'll go here. Let's start this thing. Okay, now let us go to our main chart here and look at what we have to do today. That is in sequence to what we have been doing before. So the last thing we did last week was mad lazim, the different types of it. Now we can look at stopping at the end of the words. So let's go there now. Uh-oh, and this one has a sideways. I'll have to let me bring this up from the okay, let me do this here. Um, okay, there we go. I'm gonna do it this way. Okay, page 40. Let's go here. Okay, okay, here I can rotate it. I know that. Okay, so let us look at these stoppings. This is so important. Sometimes actually I feel that maybe we should read or do this lesson first because we have to stop. It is almost like someone designing a car and then forgetting to put brakes on. So they'll be uh, pretty funny and pretty dangerous. So it's in this tajweed in our reading as well. It's very important to know where to stop and how to stop. Alhamdulillah. So let us look at this. Stopping at the end of words. Let's follow these branches. So let me grab my pen again. Here we go. So let's look at the first branch here. Let's start from here. Words ending with tanween fatha. Okay, we have done this, but this is going to be a little bit of a review. So maybe some of you will already say that, well, it's going to be, okay, mad al-iwad, mad al-iwad. But let's just read through it because it is part of this topic here, stopping at the end of words. So words ending with tanween fatha, like this one, hisaban. Okay, if we stop on it, this will become hisaba. Okay, mad al-iwad. So tanween fathatain goes away and it basically gets replaced by a fatha. And we do a two haraka mad, two harakat. Okay, this second one, atraban, becomes atraba. Third one, ma'an, becomes ma'a. Now, if you notice that letters, let's say ba, just take this away here, ba fathatain, or in this case also there is a ba fathatain, okay, and there are other letters as well. They would normally have an alif, although you don't read that alif except in the situation when you stop. Then fathatain becomes fatha. Same thing here. Fathatain becomes fatha. But here, Hamza, there is a Hamza here, has a fathatain, but there is no alif here after it. Why? Because this is a convention. If there is an alif before Hamza, then they don't write that alif. But effectively, it's going to be there, and same process is going to apply here. That is, the fathatain will become fatha, and alif appears here. It it is not written like that. It is left written like this, but we are supposed to read it like that. Ma having changed the fathatain to fatha and having added an alif after. But the convention is that this alif is not written if the hamza is in a situation where there is an alif right before it, so that the alif that after is not written. But in the other letters, other cases, the alif is written but is not read. There you go. Okay, so the first branch is done, and there is a note here, changed into fatha on the last letter plus alif mad, which is what I described. Okay, let's do the second branch here. Okay, this branch. Words ending with a ta marbuta. What is a ta marbuta? It looks like a ha with a two dots on top. This is a ta marbuta. Okay, so what does it say? Like this word here. خاشعة الحافرة نخرة. So what do we do whenever we have a ta marbuta like that? It has a haraka, okay, dhammatain, and we're stopping it. So if we stop on it, then this ta marbuta is going to turn into a ha sakin. From khashi'atun to khashi'ah. Al-hafirati to al-hafirah. Nakhiratan to nakhirah. Like that. So ha sakin. Ta marbuta changed into ha sakin. Here we go. So again, the process is explained here. Ta marbuta changed into ha sakina. Okay, written like this or that. No matter which haraka is on the ta marbuta. So it doesn't really matter. Whatever haraka that there might be, it will change into ha sakin. Good. Let's move on to the next branch. Third branch here. Words ending with any haraka other than tanween fatha. So tanween fatha has been catered right here. So words ending with any haraka other than tanween fatha, other than this one. So what happens? The first word is sayalamuna, and if we stop here, becomes sayalamun. So what happens? Changed into sukoon on the last letter. So the last letter changes to a sakin letter. This noon here was mutaharrik, had a fatha, but when we stop on it, noon becomes sakin. Right there. سيعلمون to سيعلمون. طعامه to طعامه to طعامه. كريم to كريم. سجين to سجين. السماء to السماء. Like this. You must have noticed here that when I was doing this word, when I was reading this word, I was reading this thing short. سَيَعْلَمُونَ. But when I'm stopping here, I am stretching this. So hopefully all of you will recall that what happens here. When you stop here, what happens? A letter goes sakin. And a mud, there is a natural mud right before. So if there is a natural mud right before a letter that goes sakin due to stopping, then we make what is called mad al-arid lis-sukun. Mad al-arid lis-sukun. So we, as I said, we would recommend 4 harakat. Here there is no mad. The ha is going sakin, but right before there is no natural mad. In this case, Mim goes sakin and there is a natural mad. Ra, ya, kasra, ri. So when we read this one, Karimin, 2 harakat only. But when we stop here, we say Kareem. We're going to stretch this 4 harakat. Mad al-arid, the sukun. In this one as well. Sijjinun, there's a natural mad right before this letter, and this letter, because it goes sakin, so natural mad right before a letter that goes sakin is stretched, okay, in the situation when there is a stop made to recommended for harakat. You can go up to 6. In this case, there is already a mud, and what type of mud would this be? This mud happens to be inside the same word. This is one word. Okay, so mim alif fatha ma, natural mud, followed by a hamza in the same word. So what is it? Mad wajib muttasil. Mad wajib muttasil. So when you stop, you will still have to do the mad wajib muttasil. Just because you're stopping, you're not going to skip that. So as-sama'u, here as-sama'. So although I am stopping, but I'm still going to do the mad wajib muttasil. There you go. That branch is done. Let's do another branch here. This branch. Words ending with a mushaddad letter. Okay. Should I move this up a bit? Perhaps. Let me just scroll it a little bit. Okay, this way we will get everything, but okay, so we are doing this branch. Okay, so words ending with a mushaddad letter. What does it mean? Mushaddad. Mushaddad means a letter that has a tajdeed on top. A letter that has a tajdeed on top is called mushaddad, meaning bearing a tajdeed or shadda. So this one has its own sub branches. So let's go to the first sub branch here. If the letter is any other letter, okay, if the letter is any letter other than noon or meme or qalqala letters, then stop with a sukoon on both identical letters with a small jerk called nabr, okay, in the reader's voice. So this will be like this one, like adu, adu, so like this. So you need to basically show that there is a shadda. What's gonna happen if you don't do that? Adu. If you don't do that, you know what's gonna happen? You will end up making a mad here. Adu. Adu. Because there is a wow and right after dal with a dhamma. Adu. Okay. So doing that particular exercise of putting that extra force and showing the shadda on the wow is known as a nabr, but a nabr appears in different areas as well. For example, in Surah Al-Fatiha, when we read Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka, so I can go and show that, but I don't want to lose this. Oh, but it's okay. Let's go show that. Let's go to the Mus'haf here and just go to, oops, sorry, not Hadith, Mus'haf. I'm just gonna go to page number 1. Okay, just make it a little bit big. Just want to show you the situation with the ya with the tajdeed. Look here. So here you have ya with a tajdeed preceded by a hamza with a kasra. I see. So now we are told, I mean, like we should do what we should do in nabr here as well. Iyyaka, iyyaka. Okay, because if you don't do, then what happens? Because ya here preceded by a kasra and here is kasra, it will turn into a mad. It will be like iyaka, and a lot of people actually they recite it like that, iyaka, iyaka. So that's not correct. You have to say iyyaka, iyyaka, not iyaka. So this would be another situation of nabr. Okay. back to this here. All right, so we did the first branch here, the second branch coming down from here. The second branch is right here, or sub branch. If the letter is meme or noon mushaddad, okay, then what do we have to do? Stop with no haraka and make gunna for 2 beats. So latus alun. So we're not going to say latus alunna. No. When we stop here, noon is mushaddad or has a tajdeed on top. We are not gonna do the fatha, but we will do we will show the shadda by stretching the nasal sound 2 beats. La tus'alun, like this. Okay. Okay. Again, still continuing with this, but the third sub branch now. If the letter is a qalqala letter. Okay. So what are the qalqala letters? Qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. These are the 5 qalqala letters. And if there is a shadda, so we're talking about words ending with a mushaddad letter. So this is all under tajdeed, that the last letter being mushaddad. Here we did nabr. In this one we did nabr. Here noon or meme sakin, meme mushaddad, we extended the nasal sound only without the haraka. The third one, if the word is ending with a mushaddad qalqala letter and you are actually stopping on it. So what do we have to do? Stop with strong qalqala. So we are going to make qalqala, but we are going to make it strong. Like this. Wal hajj. Okay, not wal hajj. No. Wal hajj. Like in Surah Al-Masad. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. Okay, not وتب. No. وتب. So we make it strong. Strong qalqala. Okay, there we go. And then the last main branch, words ending with sakin letter or with mud letter. Okay, so mud letters are also actually sakin. Alif is always sakin by definition, and waw or ya have to be sakin in order to cause a mud to happen. Waw following a letter with a dhamma, waw sakin, that is, and ya sakin following a letter with a kasra. Okay, so let's look at the first example here. And in this case, the last letter is already sakin. It's already sakin here. Okay, so the first one is wanhar, like in Suratul Kawthar. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Wanhar. So what does it say? It says no change. There's no change. Just leave it as it is. Leave it sakin. Next one. فَكَبِّرْ. No change. وَعَصَى. Okay. Also, this is alif maqsura here. No change. وَعَصَى. And here. وَقَالَ. وَقَالَ. Again, here's your natural mud here. Okay. So there is a mud letter alif here. This alif, or here is a alif maqsura, and here is your alif lam alif. Again, we will leave it as it is. Wa'asa or waqala. That's it. All right. In this case here, this particular case here, what does it say? Stop with ha with sukun. So there are places where we see ha okay, with a dhamma and a little subscripted wow. So we treat this as a natural mad, ha, wow, dhamma, hu, two harakat. But if we are going to stop here, then we are going to just change the ha into sakin, and then this wow is going to come out. So this wow is going to come out, and the ha will become sakin rabbah. All right. In this case, when you have a letter dal, or a letter with a qalqala letter for that matter, but in this case there is a dal. So dal sakin, again we stop respecting the sukun here, but we need to make qalqala. So lam yalid wa lam yulad, lad. So yes, we are stopping. Okay, we are not putting any haraka or anything like that. We are keeping the dal sakin, but because it's a qalqala letter, we need to do qalqala and stop with the qalqala. Okay, the extra mud sign at the end of the word. Okay, this I'm doing the last one now. The extra mud sign at the end of the word, the reader stops on it, ignoring this extra mud sign, and make a normal mud for two beats. So this actually confuses a lot of people, this mud sign, because when you're stopping, okay, then many people they end up doing the long mud. So what we are supposed to do is we just, if we are stopping here, then we just ignore that mud sign, just ignore it, because it's not going to apply anymore. That long mud sign is usually because there is a reason for long mud, such as a Hamza here, or Hamza on the top, or Hamza qata, whatever it is. Okay, so just take it away. So there is a reason for that mud sign. But if you stop here, then anything that is after the stop becomes totally transparent, has no bearing at all towards the reading. So we stop here and we just do a two haraka mad. Inni. That's it. Okay. So I think we've done all the cases that are shown in this chart. Let us now go to the Mushaf um, and look at these cases. So we go here and let us, okay, here's our Mushaf. So let us go to a full page. Just make it smaller a little bit. Okay. All right. Now let us identify those stoppings. So let us, let us look at some of the stops that are already marked. For example, the big ones obviously is the end of ayah here. So how are we going to read this now? What's going to happen? This is the word here, la yu'minuna. So what's going to happen to this last letter? Okay, we know that this is any letter that is having a haraka other than fathatain. It will go to a sukun. That haraka will change to sukun. So this will change to sukun like this. So how are we going to read this then? If we are stopping here. أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. That's how we're going to stop here. But if we were not going to stop here, then what's going to happen? This fatha will be retained, will remain. And if we are reciting like this continuously, لا يؤمنون ختم الله. So we read the fatha. So when we stopped here, If we stop here, then fatha goes away and is replaced by a sukun. Okay. Um, so now suppose we stopped here. Oops. Suppose we stopped here. Are we going to make a mad here? No, because this is not tanween fathatain, it's tanween dhammatain. So that rule of tanween fathatain does not apply to this. So we will just, this hamza is going to become sakin, and we will say إن الذين كفروا سواء. Normally we don't stop, but I'm just showing you a technical reason, like the actual thing that's going to happen is if you do end up stopping here, maybe somebody's got like extraordinarily short breath, then that's what you're going to do. You are just going to change the last letter into a sakin letter. Hamza will become sakin, but you will still do what? This, because this is one word here. So this will become mad wajib muttasil. So you will still have to do the 5 harakat here. Okay. If you were to stop here, this some people do stop. إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم. So now this letter is already sakin anyways, so we just leave it as it is. عليهم. That's it. Okay. It's okay. Fun. Let's move on. ختم الله على ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم. Okay. So you can stop wherever. For example, if you stopped here, وعلى, what's going to happen? We will just do a natural mad here. Okay, let's look at some more interesting ones. Here. Okay, so here is a stop on ta marbuta. So what is the rule? The rule says ta marbuta will become ha sakin. So from here, وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة. If you were not going to stop here, then it will be غشاوة ولهم. But if you stop, غشاوة, like this. So ta marbuta changes into ha sakin. There we go. Here, if we stop here, okay, normal ending of the ayah, what are we going to do? This meme has a dhammatain, it will become meme sakin. And then this is a letter that goes sakin due to stopping, preceded by a natural mad of 2 harakat, but then it is not going to remain 2 harakat anymore because it is preceding a letter that goes sakin due to stopping, so we will extend it to 4 harakats. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Okay, let's look at some more cases. Just looking for okay, now if I chose to stop here, let's say if I chose to stop here, let me just read it. وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا. So now I see that there is a mud sign here, like here. There is a mud sign here. What should I do? My breath, let's say I lost my breath, I had to stop here. Should I have extended this? Should I have said الذين آمنوا قالوا? No, that's wrong. Wrong. So if I stop here, then as the note said, we have to ignore this. We have to ignore this altogether, and we just do a 2 haraka stop. وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا. That's how I stop. But there is no formal stop here, so I just go back so that if I if I stop here and then continue from here, it may cause just a meaning to be affected. So it is always recommended that if we stop in a place where there is no um, uh, recommended stop, such as of course the end of ayah, or this one here, qaf lam ya, and then there is a sad lam ya, and then there is a jim. Okay, those are all different types of punctuations. Inshallah, we will cover them as well. That where it is better to stop or where it is better not to stop, and stuff like that. So we will cover it inshallah in at a later date, inshallah. But here, what I was saying was that if you do end up stopping here, it is always recommended that we go back a word or two so that the meaning is not affected. So if I stopped here, I will stop like this. وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا. Only two harakat. And I go back. I can go back here. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا آمَنَّا. Now in this time, because I didn't stop, I did the full mud here. Okay. Now this obviously is not this long mud is obviously not due to a Hamza present in the same word. Because if the Hamza was present in the same word, like such as this one here, then I would have had to do it. The long mud I would have had to do, because Hamza is part of the same word. In this case, Hamza is in the next word. So this particular mud that I end up doing, the long one, is called, as you know, mad jaiz munfasil. Mad jaiz munfasil. Again, we do it 5 harakat. Some books, some notes, they suggest 4 to 5, but we stick with 5. قالوا آمنا. If I was to stop here, then I would stop with the full mad. Here, I don't do this because Hamza belongs to the next word, and when I'm stopping, it's totally transparent. No Hamza, nothing, only a natural mad here. So we don't do the long mad because there is no Hamza. You've stopped. But if you stop here, there is a Hamza. It's contained within the same word. So we will have to do the 5 harakat mad wajib muttasil, like this one. ألا إنهم هم السفهاء. Like here also. Here there is already a punctuation. There's already a recommended stop here. Let me recite from here. قالوا أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء. So I stop here. Hamza became sakin, but I still had to do the 5 harakat mad wajib muttasil, because Hamza belongs to this word here. Here we go. Okay. Some more cases. Let's see now. Okay. If I stopped, let's say, and that's can happen because from here to here is not that short. So if I stop here, what's going to happen? مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا. So here's ra with the fathatain, as I mentioned before, that unless there is a Hamza, okay, preceded by an alif, okay, then they don't write an alif right after, but normally alif would would appear right after a letter containing a fathatain. So normally this will be read naran, or if we were to continue, naran falamma. So this is how we would continue. But if we stop, then it turns into a mad al-iwad, fathatain becomes fatha, and then this alif is used. Nara. Okay. مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا. Now here, just an opportunity to talk a little bit about the Hamzatul Wasl. So here is your Hamzatul Wasl, and do you see the Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination, such as this one? So you got the Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination. So therefore, as-sama, um, what is it? Noun. Okay, as you know. But here you don't have the Hamzatul Wasl and Lam combination. So this is actually a verb. So what are we going to do now? For Hamzatul Wasl, we look at the third letter. 1, 2, 3. The third letter has a fatha. So remember, dhamma for dhamma, and dhamma on the Hamzatul Wasl for dhamma, or kasra on the Hamzatul Wasl for fatha or kasra. So this Hamzatul Wasl will get a kasra. So in case that if I stopped here and then I wanted to just go back here and then continue. So let me do that. So now I'm going to stop here first, then I will go back because there is no formal stop here. So I will go back, but I will start from here rather than going back all the way. مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا. استوقد نارا فلما أضاءت, and so on. So when you went back, you had no choice but to start from this word, and this word, it has to be started istawqada with a Hamzatul Wasl, and Hamzatul Wasl is going to assume a kasra because the third letter has a fatha. So fatha or kasra on the third letter will give kasra on the Hamzatul Wasl. If there is a dhamma, then it will get dhamma. Okay, mashallah. Now let us recite the next page. We did page number 20. We can go and recite page number 21. Okay, here we go. I can make this big and even bigger. Alright, so you can recite with me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. سيقول السفهاء من الناس ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها. Please notice the endings. So we stopped here with the natural mad because it was a natural mad. قل لله المشرق والمغرب. Here we stopped. The letter has a haraka. This letter becomes sakin, but it happens to be a qalqala letter. So we made the qalqala. والمغرب يهدي من يشاء الهداء إلى صراط مستقيم وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول We go back now. ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا مد العوض وما جعلنا القبلة التي كنت عليها إلا لنعلم من يتبع الرسول ممن ينقلب على عقبيه. So ha becomes second here. And here was a lean situation. Ba, ya, fatha, bay. And you have a lean right before a letter that goes second. So what do we end up doing? Mad a lean. Mad al lean. Okay. Works similar to mad al arid sukun and we do 4 harakat. وَإِن كَانَتْ لَكَبِيرَةً إِلَّا عَلَى الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِالنَّاسِ لَرَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Then did Madul Arid Sukun here again. قد نرى تقلب وجهك في السماء. Hamza became sakin and I still had to do mad wajib muttasil. فلنولينك قبلة ترضاها فول وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام بدل عارض السكون وحيث ما كنتم فولوا وجوهكم شطره. So here is your ha with a dhamma and little subscripted waw here. So if you were going to read that in continuum, it will be shatorahu wa innal ladhina, but we are stopping here, so this becomes just a ha sakin. wujuhakum shatrah wa innal ladhina utul kitaba la ya'lamuna annahu al-haqqu min rabbihim وما الله بغافل عما يعملون ولئن أتيت الذين أوتوا الكتاب بكل آية ما تبعوا قبلتك وما أنت بتابع قبلتهم وما بعضهم بتابع قبلة بعض ولئن اتبعت أهواءهم من بعد ما جاءك من العلم إنك إذا لمن الظالمين صدق الله العظيم سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك